morning. It is still really super early, but I have a ton to get done today. So I figured I would bring you along with some of it this morning. I wanted to start with the baking that I need to get done. I also need to prep a couple things like potatoes and a big layered salad, stuff like that. So I'm going to start with the baking stuff. I'm going to bake a big chocolate Texas cake and then put the frosting on and everything like that. So I'm wanting to get the cake started so I could get it in the oven and then do the frosting. But then after we get all this done, I'm wanting to show you what we did for decorations and everything around the yard. So let's get started.
Hello friends, welcome back to another video, or if you are new here, welcome. I had high hopes of getting this video posted last Friday for you guys, but it has just been crazy here. If you are a follower, you know that we just had birthday week and it has just been crazy. So I do apologize that this a little later than I was hoping to post it, but I made it extra long. We have kind of everything jam-packed from the last couple of days in here. So I am starting today's video with the food and prepping and stuff for 4th of July. We had a huge 4th of July bash, tons of people, and I woke up super early to get all the food prepped and ready for that. And then if you stick around, I will also show you all the decorations that we hung up and kind of things that we had planned for our big 4th of July party. And then at the very end, I put in a clean with me video to kind of prep for our party. So it was beforehand, before all of this, but I wanted to still include it because, like me, I know many of you use those videos for motivation to get stuff done around your house. So like I said earlier in the video, I am prepping a Texas sheet cake. I love these because they make a huge quantity, and then you can also put the frosting on when it is still warm. So the frosting and the cake. So I'm wanting to get it started to kind of allow it to have plenty of time to set before guests arrive. And if you are interested in any of the recipes from today's video, I will have those down below in the description box. I know in my previous video I took forever to list all the recipes, and I do apologize. Have I said it's been crazy? It has just been wild over here, and so I'm kind of excited for it to start calming down a little bit, but I do have those videos posted now, so if you were interested in any of those videos or any of those recipes from the previous video, they are in the description box below that video, and then all of today's recipes will be posted in the description box from today's video. I wish I could say that it was going to calm down a little bit. It will probably in a week or so, but now that the 4th of July is over and we have a couple of our parties out of the way, we have our birthdays out of the way, at least for the next month. Lincoln's birthday is in August, but at the end of this week, we are headed out of town. We're going back to Illinois to visit some family. So we are so looking forward to that trip and just kind of relaxing and having a really good time. But this week will be kind of hectic and busy. We have some people staying at our house while we will be gone, taking care of our animals. So I like to make sure that the house is nice and clean and ready for guests. Even though we're not going to be here, I want it to be nice and clean for them. So I will be getting all that sorted out in my next video.
Now that we have the cake in the oven, I am going to cut up about 1,000,000 pounds of potatoes. It's about 10, but it feels like 1,000,000. And I'm going to put them in these trays. We're going to just do some really simple garlic potatoes. I like putting them in the oven to kind of roast low and slow for a couple of hours, and they're usually a really big hit. I have made these on my channel before, so I'm sure you've seen them if you are a follower, but anyway, they are very, very easy, and they are usually a pretty big crowd pleaser. So anyway, I'm gonna get started on these, dice them all up. I'm not even sure if it's going to be enough. I might have to peel more potatoes, but we're going to start with this and see. I always cube mine up in little cubes like this. So they're not too small, they're not too big, and they're perfect. Once they kind of cook down, they get like a coating on them that is a little crunchier. And yeah, these have been my favorite since I was a kid, so.
I ended up using slightly more than 10 pounds of potatoes, so there was 10 pounds in this big bowl, and I used a couple more large potatoes. My goal was to fill these two pans here because we were having a ton of guests, and I wanted to make sure that we had plenty of food for everyone. I did not end up making all the food because we were having so many people. I was sure to ask people to bring stuff, and we usually have a ton of people that will volunteer to bring stuff, so I took them up on their offers this year, and we have plenty of people bringing sides and desserts and just all kinds of things. It was such a huge help, and I didn't have to end up having to prep so much food this time because we just had so many people offer to bring things. We did also smoke a large pork butt, and I show some of that process in this video a little later, but not the whole process. It was just kind of chaotic throughout, but I showed as much as I possibly could. Anyway, we did a large pork butt, and then we also did a bunch of burgers. We had all kinds of things, and during the party, literally every surface of my kitchen was completely covered in different dishes and food, and we only ended up having 4 sandwiches left over and 1 hamburger. It was kind of crazy because there was just so much food.
Okay, so that was not enough. I'm going to cut up a couple more pounds just to fill up the second pan, and then it should be good.
I've done these potatoes a handful of times on my channel, but I'll quickly kind of run through it with you. It is such an easy dish that I don't usually really need to include the whole recipe down below, but you dice up several pounds of potatoes, and I showed you about what size, and then you will dice up in this amount I used 2 sticks of butter, so maybe a stick of butter or half a stick of butter if you're not doing this quantity, and then I'll put those in with the potatoes, mix them up. I'll do salt, pepper, garlic powder, and then I also did a pretty hefty scoop of garlic in each one too, and then you give it a really, really good stir. You can also include onions. I know I've done that before, but I didn't do that this time. And then cook it low and slow, covered in your oven, and it is delicious. After a couple of hours, it kind of has like a little coating crunch on the outside. It's nice and fluffy on the inside, and if you notice that it needs more garlic, you can always add that later on. Sometimes they need a little bit more garlic because they are garlic potatoes after all, But these have always been a staple, especially during the summertime, for our get-togethers, our cookouts, everything like that. So I usually will make these. I'm going to get the potatoes wrapped up and ready for the oven, but they're not going to go in the oven quite yet because I still have quite a bit of time and I want to bake them a little later on. So I'm getting them wrapped up and then I'm going to jump right into making the frosting for the cake. Now, I'm not quite sure how necessary this whole process of doing it on the stove is. I just have always followed this recipe pretty much to a T, and it has always turned out fabulous. So I'm not gonna switch it up because it works for me. So I'm sure you could probably just melt this in the microwave and do it like that, but I just never have, and it has always worked out really well. The cake I just pulled out of the oven and it is all done. Now the recipe that I follow, it says to pour the frosting onto the warm cake and then you just let it set. It also uses pecans and you're just supposed to sprinkle them on. However, I have people coming that cannot have nuts, so I am going to leave those off. Also, not everybody in my family really likes them, so a lot of times I don't usually put those in. But anyway, my cake cooked where like the middle is kind of more fluffier than the sides, so it's uneven. And because of that, I'm gonna let this cool down a little bit and then let the frosting also cool down to see if maybe that will help, because otherwise if I pour it on now, the frosting will just go to the sides and there will be like nothing here. So I'm going to wait a little bit, let them cool down a little bit, and hopefully this will thicken and that won't cause it to like warm up and slide down to the sides. So anyway, I am going to put those off to the side, let them cool down. I'm making tea. Oh no, you can't even see that in the back. I'm making tea back here, and I'm going to boil some eggs for our layered salad that I'm gonna make. But first, while this is all cooling down, I'm going to go get dressed. So I will see you back here in just a minute. Okay, I'm changed into outfit one of the day. I put this one on. I plan on wearing a different one that's a little cooler. I'm cooking and sweating outside. I'm going to put on this outfit, so that's why there's multiple outfit changes. Anyway, so I have a couple more things that I'm needing to kind of prep before this afternoon. I'll bake them this afternoon, but for right now I need to prep them. First thing is tomato pies, and what I'm gonna do is I got a couple of these. There's 2 in each and I got 2 packs, so there's 4 crusts all together. I am going to poke some holes in them and then I'm going to pre-bake them
and then we'll put tomatoes and all that stuff to make them tomato pies. This is usually a really big hit, and I love doing this when I have a ton of tomatoes from the garden that I need to use up. So this is a perfect summer dish, especially if you love tomatoes. It's very cheesy and creamy and tomatoey. It's very good. It's one of my favorite things, but I happen to love tomatoes. So if you don't like tomatoes, maybe you won't like this. I know that there's a lot of people that tried it that usually like it, that don't usually like tomatoes. So anyway, this is a very good dish, especially for like a cookout. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that.
Just a little note and FYI before I move too far away from the chocolate cake at this point. So I did wait to put the frosting on, and it worked out significantly better in terms of setting pretty easily. So if you have that issue, you can absolutely wait for both of them and let them cool a little bit, and it sets a lot more evenly. I will have this recipe down below in the description box, but this is also another one of those really straightforward recipes. You can make the pie crust from scratch. I never usually do because this is just so easy to do it this way, and I usually make these when we're having a bunch of guests. So it is basically just poking the holes in it to start getting them baking before you put the ingredients in. You mix together basically just mayonnaise, cheese, and some basil. You could of course add like some garlic or some fresh veggies to that. I think spinach would be really good. I thought of that whenever I was making it this time. And then you just mix them together. Then you layer the tomatoes, really thick slices I like to use, into the bottom of the pie crust, and then you put this topping nice and evenly on top. And I like to top it with some green onions instead of mixing the green onions in. I just like that a little bit more. So, and that's basically it. You just throw it in the oven at like 350 to 400, however your oven works. I think I did 400 for these, and you leave them in there until they are nice and like browning on top. You can even broil them the last couple of minutes, but like I said, they're always a huge hit. You will also notice at one point I have 4 pies, and then at another point I only have 3. So I was mixing all of this together, just kind of eyeing it because I've done this so many times, and I didn't end up mixing enough ingredients, quite enough at least, for the 4th pie. And I didn't have enough of the Parmesan cheese because I used that for the other 3. So what I actually ended up doing, and I'm going to have to start doing this because everybody loved it more, I did pepper jack cheese and with the cheddar cheese instead of the Parmesan. And then to kind of tell it apart, I sliced a jalapeno, and I put that right in the center so they knew that that had a little bit more of a kick than the others. It was not spicy by any means, but it just to kind of symbolize and tell the difference between that one and the other 3 pies. So again, I will definitely be making that version again, is like with these, to have a nice variety. But it was a really good kind of mixture, and it added just enough spice that it was really fabulous. Now I have the chocolate cake all done and waiting to set. I have the potatoes done, and I'm going to wrap up all of the tomato pies and put everything in the oven a little bit later. But I'm wanting to do the last thing that I'm going to be prepping this morning, which is a layered salad. And so I cut everything up ahead of time, and as long as you layer the salad how I did, it stays nice and crunchy and fresh, and it doesn't wilt or anything. I will prepare the salad dressing a little later, and it was something that I meant to record and I just did not have the time, so I will have that recipe down below as well in the description box. But basically you will layer it and then put the dressing at the very top, and then right before you go to serve it, you can combine it and mix it all together. It works very well, and you can do it ahead of time. So I was preparing this early in the morning, and then we were not going to serve it until about 5 in the evening. So it does, like I said, it lasts as long as you layer it in this way. It does last very well. I'm finishing up assembling the salad, and then I'm going to put the lid on it, put it in the fridge, and then we're going to go outside and check out all the stuff that we kind of were decorating and we have ready for the party. We got some things set up, so I was going to kind of show you a couple of the things that we did. I hung this banner. And then these are all just tablecloths because they came in a pack of 3 each, and they're super cheap, like not even $3. And I figured it'd be a lot easier next to the pool in case they get wet or anything. So we did red, white, and blue. I cut little fringe things in there, and then it says USA. We got another one on this side, and I just kind of tied it to make sure it doesn't fly around. And then over here we have our drinks. I always label them because we usually have quite a bit of things, and then usually people will bring other coolers. So for beer and drinks, we got our sodas. We still have to put ice in here, so I'm showing you pre-ice. But soda, juice for the kids, waters, and like I said, usually people will bring a whole bunch of other coolers, so we kind of just line them up here. Harder to hear because I am right next to the air conditioner, but Kyle has just a couple of fireworks that he's gonna set off. He usually, every year he says he's not going to, and then right before 4th of July he's like, oh, let's just stop and look, and then he ends up getting a little bit. Never usually very much, or usually just about $100 worth. So he got some big things that him and his friends can blow off, and then we also have, you know, like the little things like the sparklers and stuff like that for the kids to be able to light some off too. So we put these out here because we're expecting quite a bit of people, so I wanted everybody to kind of be able to have a spot to sit and everything, and we were putting tables out here, so that will give them some shade. And the sun comes from this area and back right before it sets, so we put these, again, more tablecloths because they're super cheap and waterproof for the most part. So we I just have them hooked, like tied up here, but if people are sitting over here like watching bags or, you know, whatever, they can put these down and I think even like anchor them and kind of shade them for a little bit. So that is why we have these. And then I just did really simple tables, chairs, and tablecloth, and that is all it is. And then, like I said, we set the bag games up here. And then we will head up over here about 9 p.m. when they do fireworks. And we're pretty much the only people that come. We're at the very back end of the golf course, and it's hard to see. But over this way is where they shoot them off. So they're right over here. There's like a little lake, and actually the town, they go on the driving range just past those trees, and that's where the town watches. But as far as our neighbors and stuff, we are pretty much the only ones so over in this area. So we go up here, and this is where our party usually will gather and watch fireworks, and that is where Kyle will also light off fireworks with some of the guys here. We have some neighbors over the back that way. You can't even see their house. They actually come out in this area, but they're a little further back. So we have it very private. It is super nice, and we can see the entire thing without any obstruction of views and everything. It is really, really nice, and that's kind of why we're the gathering spot for 4th of July, because we have really nice views of the town fireworks. And then also we have the pool and a nice communal place. We're not too far from everybody, so it's kind of the gathering spot for 4th of July. And then over here, we just did a little, sometimes we'll get like the bigger pools and we fill them with water balloons. We just got this little, I think it's actually a drink floaty, but we never use it. So I filled it with one big package of water balloons, and it's out here because we don't let the kids play with them over by the pool area. It is just, I don't want them in the pool. And then also the water balloons will actually like melt to our pool like deck area. So anyway, they play with it over here in the grass, and so that's out here for them. And then again, I hung more tablecloths. These ones I tied, but I didn't really tie it that tight, so I'm going to have to tighten it to get it kind of like off the ground. But again, I just did it on each of these posts. And then that one, I did not do it on the middle one because I believe Kyle is going to be running this grill. I'm not positive. I think we're doing burgers on this grill. We have the pork butt going. It's been going for a couple of hours. So still has a couple more hours to go. I don't know if you can, the vines are starting to climb up the pergola, so it looks kind of cool. Anyway, and then we moved our fan over, and it's going, it is so nice. We got this, I think, from Lowe's like 5 years ago, and it has held up. It works really, really great outside, and we never bring it in, so works good even though it's been outside in winter and stuff like that. It was over here because we used to have the couch over here, but now it doesn't make any sense for it to really be over here. So he just kind of strung it up over here. And then the little pool area.
I don't usually go all out for decorations, and this amount seemed really perfect to me. It just is so much work and stress when you have so many decorations, so I don't usually go all out. I like it kind of more on the simple side, and that's just something that works out a lot better for me. here is just a couple little snapshots of the boys sitting with their friends watching fireworks. There was so many people, and you cannot even tell. I just didn't want to get everybody in the video, but they had so much fun with everyone. And as you can tell, this is now like the clean with me portion of today's video. So this was before the party. This was before 4th of July. This was the day before, and I was going around and getting everything ready, just kind of tidying up. I did a lot of the deep cleaning beforehand, and I just needed to really clean the floors, mop, sweep, vacuum, do some tidying up around the house. And then I will also be doing some like hanging the banners, some of the decorations, stuff like that. So you will see that now in this portion. This is before all of the party and food and all that kind of stuff. I am going to vacuum in here really quickly because Ted is not currently outside, so I can vacuum. But really quickly, a couple of random things. Like, I've kind of been putting things in here that actually I'm going to be putting in storage, so I gotta put some of those in storage. We had a project planned with this wood for outside, just kind of building almost like a decorative trellis. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to put like a plant by it, but we have a part of our house that I feel like needs something. So anyway, that was the direction I was gonna go, but I don't think we're gonna get to that until after 4th of July because it is creeping up on us really quick. So I think I'm gonna put just that downstairs. I have to go around, and this is our 4th of July bin, and it just kind of has some random stuff that every year that I might put out on the tables or decorate with or whatever. So I need to go through that. I put a couple things out, but really I haven't done much decorating. So I'm going to get to some decorating today and also go through that and kind of figure out like what I really need from there. There's a lot of stuff in there that I don't even think I really need anymore. So go through that, and then I'll put that away. And then these are not actually garbage. I'm going to see if my son can bring them down to one of the storage rooms. I was cleaning out my closet in here, and I had a ton of stuff from Hayden, our son that passed away, and I'm not ready to get rid of it, but I just can't continue to like look at it in my closet and store it, and I need to find maybe some better keepsake box type things. So anyway, that is from him. It's like blankets and stuff. So I just wrapped them up in a couple bags, and I'm gonna have my son bring them down and put them in storage until I can find a better solution for everything. I'm gonna wrap this up and not get too chatty. So I'm going to go ahead and vacuum in here, and then we're gonna let Ted out. If you are unsure what the heck I'm talking about with the vacuuming and our dog Ted, and what the correlation could possibly be. So our dog Ted is a complete escape artist. He can get over all of our fences, and if you saw my Instagram post from this weekend, we had to fix the side door for his fencing 2 different times, and it is now wood because he has escaped through like the metal fencing that was on there. It's just wild. But anyway, I cannot vacuum when he is outside because he has to wear a shock collar to make sure he doesn't get out of our yard, and so I cannot vacuum because it actually sets off his shock collar. So I only vacuum our bedroom. That's the only place that ever seems to matter. It's kind of weird, but yeah, so I cannot vacuum in my bedroom while he is wearing his shock collar. So short story long, that is why I don't vacuum at the same time, and that is why there's a correlation with the vacuuming and our dog Ted. I am spending a lot of this day working on laundry. You're just not really going to see it. So I'm switching the laundry over and piling it on my bed, and I will get to switching all of it out, folding it, all that kind of fun stuff kind of throughout the day. And like I said, I just don't really brush on it much because laundry, I hate laundry, and I can't imagine many people liking laundry, so you know, I don't record it too often. But anyway, so I put that all on my bed, and I'm making sure though that I'm getting through the laundry. I don't want it piling up for after. And then also I want to make sure everybody has towels and bathing suits, everything that they need for the party. So I just went ahead and did everything. I'm giving everywhere a really good vacuum, and I'm going to sweep and mop. If you're wondering, I was actually just talking to my cousin about this not that long ago, but I always sweep and vacuum because I feel like sweeping, it gets in like the little nooks and crannies of the floor, and my floor has quite a bit. We have like natural rock and stuff in our house, and it can accumulate and a lot of hair and dust and stuff, and then I can't get the vacuum in there. So I like to sweep and then vacuum to kind of, once it all settles down on the floor, I'll vacuum, and then I like to go in and mop. So that's what I'll be doing here today, along with giving everything a really good wipe down and doing minimal dusting. Like I said, I have slowly within the last couple weeks been working on deep cleaning and doing a lot more of the deeper stuff. That way, once it came to the day before the party, I didn't have to do any of that really. So it was just minor stuff and, you know, kind of vacuuming to get it picked up, and not like a deep vacuum. I didn't have to do any of the deep cleaning, which was super nice. But today is just about wiping down stuff and getting things put out and ready. This box is the 4th of July box I was talking about, and it has the most random stuff in it, and like stuff that I've just accumulated from like the dollar store. So like some of these are pretty worn, but yeah, just very random things. Anything 4th of July I'll just pick up and throw in there, and some things I really need to go through the box and get rid of because I didn't use a lot of the stuff in the box. But it's just funny, the stuff that I accumulated, and then I kept finding these little pinwheels, and I thought it was hysterical because I'm like, why do I have so many? And I don't think I used any of them. So I need to, like I said, I need to go through and start getting rid of things. We also used to have a snow cone machine. In the first year we hosted 4th of July down here, we did snow cones, and it only worked for like 10 minutes. I do not recommend, but so we even have like all the snow cone stuff because I had high hopes of getting another snow cone machine, and really when it came to it, I'm just like, I don't need that. Like I said, the other one worked for like 10 minutes and it just really wasn't worth it. So that's another thing I really need to get rid of because I've held on to those for like 4 years now, and I don't even have a snow cone machine anymore. So I said previously how I keep things very simple, especially with 4th of July in terms of decorations. I really just kind of walk around and put flags in different places, and that might be about it. I have like the table runner that is 4th of July, but I don't go all crazy about it. And you can see here that we still have our birthday decorations up from mine and my daughter's birthdays just a day before this. We end up taking the banner down that says happy birthday, but we left the balloons up, and then that's actually where we ended up putting our dessert table because we had no room in our kitchen to put any of the desserts or anything like that. So we ended up putting all the desserts on a table, and it ended up working out because the balloon banner, I guess it is, was right under it, and it kind of looked like, you know, even though it wasn't 4th of July, it was summery and it looked like it kind of belonged there. So we ended up leaving that. We just took the happy birthday sign down. Also, can you see the plant that's here on the far left of the screen? It was so pretty. I love it so much. My mom sent it to me for my birthday. She tends to send me either like plants or flowers. She does live somewhat locally. She's about 40 minutes from us, but she doesn't always see me on my birthday because my daughter's birthday is the very next day, and then we also host 4th of July. So it's a busy week, and that way she's not traveling 40 minutes each day to come and see us. So anyway, we kind of just pick which day, and usually for my birthday, she'll send me like some flowers, or this year she sent me a plant, and so I love it. It's like a July themed. I think it is so cool. It has peace lilies and larkspur, I think is what it's called, which is like the July flower, and then it also has like the ruby red roses. I just thought it was such a pretty arrangement, so I had to share. Now I am in the kitchen. As you can tell, we had people over for my daughter's birthday the day before this, and we had like a big Subway platter that I needed to pick up. She doesn't like cake and frosting, so we usually will do an ice cream sundae for her, and so we made brownies, and we had different toppings and sprinkles and ice cream and the whole thing. And so I'm kind of picking up from that and putting things away, but that's what all that was from. I'm taking a quick break from the cleaning, and I am preparing the seasoning for the pork butt, and I ended up spilling. I really need to get a funnel. Please remind me to get a funnel for my kitchen, because I don't know how many times I have spilled things because I need a funnel, and then I never remember to get one. And what are they, like 90 cents at Walmart? I don't know why I never remember. But anyway, I am making the seasoning for the pork butt. We need to make that ahead of time because we use a small portion of it and put it in the brine, and then you put the pork butt with the seasoning and all that in a brine for about 12 to 24 hours. So we were needing to do that this day in order to get it on the grill in enough time to smoke it for 10 hours. And you know from your childhood, those like sand things where you layer the sand and it's all pretty. I didn't realize until like after I had put all of these seasonings in, but I'm like, I made one of those sand things. It looks just like it. Look at it. It's like, I could keep it. It's so cute. Anyway, so I had to ruin it and shake it all up, but I was like, oh, that's such a cute thing. Now our break is over, and we have moved right back on to cleaning, wiping everything down, and putting flags in random pieces of decor around the house. I'm curious how everyone else decorates for the 4th of July. Do you really decorate, or what do you do for the 4th of July? Because most people I know don't really go all out, and like I said, I don't usually, but whenever you watch other people on YouTube, maybe that's just why they do it, I guess, because, you're getting paid for it or whatever, but they go crazy for every event, and I don't know, I'm more realistic about it. I'm not that person. I'm sorry, I don't overdo decorations, not even for like Christmas either. Like, I decorate for Christmas, but I don't go above and beyond. That's just not my style, and I have anxiety problems, and I feel like when I do go above and beyond, it really starts getting to me. So anyway, I am just not that person. But how do you decorate for 4th of July, or do you not decorate at all? I'm not really sure what that little Hamilton Beach like boiler thing is. I'm not sure what it's called, but I ended up getting it from my cousin a couple years ago, and it is one of my more used like little appliances. If you have one and you're not using it to mop your floors, I definitely suggest trying it out, because it really is nice to be able to put, like, usually I'll put a little bit of soap in the bottom of my mop bucket, and then I'll put hot water from my faucet in, and then I'll pour 1 or 2 of the like hot water containers from the Hamilton Beach thing into the mop bucket, and it is hot enough to get any sticky stuff off the floor. I usually don't have to go over it more than once. You know, sometimes I have kids, and so there is more stuck on stuff sometimes, but it does a really good job of heating up very quickly within like a minute or two. And then also I've noticed that I have a lot of plants, and if you have a lot of plants, you might notice that you have like gnats and stuff. We get gnats sometimes, but I noticed that before bed, what I like to do when we're having an issue with gnats is I will boil 1 or 2 of those containers full, and then I dump them down the drain before I go to bed, and it really helps control gnat problems. So if you have an issue with that too, I definitely suggest trying one of these out, because I really enjoy using it for things like that. It is very, very quick, opposed to like, you know, boiling a pot of water, which in my house on my stove, it takes a while to boil water. So that does it in about a minute or 2, and I use it for a couple different things around my house.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands.
I'm finishing up the floors, and then I'm going to head outside and start working on some of the decor that you saw that I had hung earlier in the video. While I'm doing all this stuff, if you notice, there are no little children running around trying to steal the spotlight. All the kids were in the pool. It was so hot. I can't even believe it has been in like the upper 90s, and we are in full sun, so it always feels so much hotter here. And I was doing this, and hopefully you can't tell, but I was like sweating so bad. It is so hot. But anyway, so the kids, they were all in the pool while I was hanging up all this decor, and I was trying to hurry so then I can kind of jump in the pool and swim with them. Like I mentioned earlier, these decorations were table covers, and I made sure I bought the large rectangular ones, and then I bought a couple different packages of them, and each package had 3 table covers in it, and they were all the same color, so I bought a couple different ones, but they were, for each package, it was like $2.77 or something like that. They also held up really, really well, especially by the pool. They were able to get wet, and they did, because we had a bazillion children in this pool on the 4th of July, and they were squirting like water guns and all kinds of things, and these held up almost perfectly. You like couldn't even tell that we had kids or anything around them. The only issue that I kind of ran into with the ones on these posts were they are, I don't even know how to describe it. So they have a metal coating around them, and I was not sure how to secure these to it. So what I ended up doing was I took a thing of twine and I tied it really tightly to the top of the post, and then the only tape that I could find was duct tape, which ended up working out really well because it holds very well. So I tied the twine to the top, and then I tucked the side of each of these tablecloths into it until it was about the length that I wanted, and then I came back over with the duct tape and I secured the twine and the table covers to the top of the post, and it held up very, very well like this. The other ones, the other posts that I did, I was able to use like a staple gun, and that worked out really well. But for these, because of the material that I was putting them on, I kind of had to be a little more creative, but that is how I do it, or how I did it, and it ended up working out very well. And I don't know if you remember from earlier in the video, there was also like a blue fringe banner that I put in between these two posts, and that was also another tablecloth. I pulled it out of the package and I left it folded nicely, and then I cut the ends to just a certain point. I cut them all the way down and it created a fringe, and then I just taped it up there. So that also worked out really great. It stayed up there until we took everything down, and you could not even tell that it was touched or anything. It all held up very well, and I think moving forward I'll continue to do these for the decor because it was just so cheap and it held up so well. I am wrapping up today's video, and we're finishing with the laundry that we kind of had started with. These are all the beach towels. I'm making sure that we have plenty for anybody that doesn't bring them. We have hooks around our fence in the pool area that I usually will hang a bunch of towels from. But then these are the extra ones, so I like to roll them up nice and tight and then shove them in this basket that I got at IKEA for, years ago. And then I just put this basket out by the seating area, and it's very easy to find for everyone, and it's nice and convenient if you didn't bring a towel. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and getting all this stuff done for our big, huge party. For our next video, I will be doing all the takedown of that and getting ready to go out of town. But I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.